Although it is the world's second smallest continent, Europe welcomes more than half of all the tourists worldwide. In fact, 7 of the 10 most visited countries in the world are European nations. It's easy to see why. A well-preserved cultural heritage, rich history, safety, and efficient infrastructure makes visiting Europe a breeze. Here's a look at the best places to visit in Europe. Number 25. Vienna. As the former seat of the Habsburg Empire, Vienna is awash with impressive imperial buildings and palaces, which so comprehensively convey the wealth and power of its former monarchs. Now the capital of Austria, the city is a delight to get lost in. Nicknamed the City of Music, the names of its famous residents roll off the tongue, with Mozart, Beethoven, and Schubert among those who once graced its streets. Stonehenge. You have to marvel at the determination of prehistoric man when you look at Stonehenge. Construction started about 3000 BC on what was originally burial grounds. Huge monoliths weighing 25 tons were dragged 150 miles to the site a few hundred years later. It's not known exactly how many humongous rocks were moved to a field near Amesbury, but there are 13 standing today. It's also not known why Stonehenge was built, but many believe this great English landmark is associated with early astrology. Number 23. Matterhorn. Egypt may have its pyramids, but Italy and Switzerland have a nature-made pyramid of their own, the Matterhorn. At 14,692 feet high, this famous mountain is one of the highest in Europe. The mountain has 4 faces, each equally rugged. The legendary mountain has been popular with climbers since the first ascent in 1865. During the summer, 150 people a day try to climb it. Couch potatoes may be just as happy to stay below and gaze in awe at the summit playing hide-and-seek with the clouds. Number 22. Plitvice Lakes. The Plitvice Lakes are so pretty, officials turned them into a national park. Located in central Croatia, Plitvice Lakes consists of 16 lakes that attract more than 1 million visitors a year. The lakes are surrounded by lush forests and connected by waterfalls cascading down from one lake to another. The lakes are divided into 2 sections, lower and upper, because of the difference in elevation. The best way to see the lakes is walking. On the route, you might even see some wildlife. Number 21. Budapest. Budapest was already an established city when the Hungarians took over in the 9th century. Today, Budapest is the country's capital and largest city. In between these 2 events, Budapest was ruled by the Mongols and the Ottomans, among others. Considered one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, Budapest is home to the Museum of Fine Arts with its collection of more than 100,000 works. Be sure to visit the centrally located Old Town with its many museums, churches, palaces, and Parliament building. Number 20. Lisbon. The Portuguese capital of Lisbon lies on the Tagus River along the Atlantic coast. It is this location that encouraged explorers to sail far and wide around the world in the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries. One of the things you'll want to see is the Belém Tower, a 16th century fortress on the Tagus's north bank. If you're looking for good views of Old Lisbon, head to St. George Castle that was built on a hilltop by the Moors. Number 19. Gullfoss. You probably don't know too many people who've been to Iceland, but it may be worth a trip there to visit the spectacular Gullfoss waterfalls. Located in southern Iceland, Gullfoss is one of Iceland's top tourist attractions. At times, it almost appears glacier-like, appropriate perhaps since it is fed by a glacier. The waterfalls begin just after the Ölfusá River makes a perpendicular turn and then cascades down a 3-step staircase into a canyon that is 115 feet deep. Number 18. Athens. Athens, a city that's been inhabited since the 5th century BC, gave the world the concept of democracy and is the birthplace of Western civilization. Many of the city's major landmarks can be found in the Old City, particularly around the Acropolis. The list includes the Temple of Zeus, the Theater of Dionysus, where Sophocles' works were performed, and the Parthenon, which sits atop the Acropolis. Number 17. Bay of Kotor. When you're hungry for breathtaking scenery, feast your eyes on Kotor Bay in southwestern Montenegro. This bay off the Adriatic is just downright picturesque, hemmed in by mountains with quaint villages sandwiched between the cliffs and the gorgeous blue water. Several well-preserved medieval towns ring the bay. People make pilgrimages here, not only to take in the scenery, but also to visit the many Orthodox and Christian churches spread among the villages. Number 16. Moscow. For nearly 900 years, Moscow has been the capital of Russia. As such, this old city has plenty to offer visitors. Let's start with the 15th century Red Square, since many of the city's key attractions surround it. A top landmark is the Kremlin, a former fortress that houses museums, and the President of the Russian Federation. Lenin's tomb sits in the middle of the square, while the iconic onion-domed St. Basil's Cathedral, now a museum, is on one side. Number 15. Venice. Venice is for romantics who love gliding through the Grand Canal with a gondolier singing Italian love songs. This is, after all, the city that sent Marco Polo off on his journey to China. Start your exploration of Venice at San Marco Square, the city's most famous square. Here you'll find the Doge's Palace, the seat of Venetian government, and St. Mark's Basilica, the main church in Venice with stunning views from the tower. Venice also is famous for its bridges along the canals. Number 14. Monte Carlo. If you're into glitz and glamour, look no further than Monte Carlo, the major city in the tiny principality of Monaco. Monaco has always been known for these qualities, which reached new heights when its prince made Grace Kelly his princess. Sitting on the shores of the Mediterranean, Monte Carlo is known for fast car races and its elite casino. Take a walk along the harbor to see yachts that belong to the rich and famous. Number 13. Alhambra. The Alhambra is one of the great wonders of Spain. It's a gorgeous palace fortress complex that can be found in Granada in southern Spain's Andalusian province. This imposing complex started out as a small fortress in the late 9th century, though it was built on the ruins of a former Roman fortress. Taken over by Christian rulers, it is the site where Columbus got the go-ahead to discover the New World. The blending of architectural styles over the centuries is stunning. You'll find great art and grand gardens throughout. Number 12. Florence. If it weren't for Florence, the Renaissance might not have happened. Florence is generally credited with bringing Europe out of the Dark Ages with great artists like Michelangelo. You can see their works at the Uffizi Gallery or the Accademia that displays the original David. Eat a gelato while strolling the Ponte Vecchio that bridges the Arno River. Ogle the over-the-top riches of the Medici family at the Pitti Palace. Marvel at the early engineering that created the Great Duomo. This is Florence at its best. Number 11. London. English history buffs will have a field day in London. This city on the Thames is chock full of palaces, from Buckingham Palace to Hampton Court Palace. More a prison than a palace, the Tower of London is home to the crown jewels. And from Knightsbridge, don't forget to visit the magnificent food halls at Harrods. To Carnaby Street, the shopping is awesome. You can get around London quickly and efficiently by riding the famous Tube. Number 10. Neuschwanstein Castle. Fairy tale castle is a phrase that aptly describes Neuschwanstein Castle in the Bavarian Alps. The 19th century Romanesque revival castle looks like it just stepped out of a fairy tale. Some say Neuschwanstein provided the inspiration for the castle in Disney's Sleeping Beauty. The castle was built as a retreat for King Ludwig II of Bavaria, who viewed it as a romanticization of the Middle Ages. The castle was built of brick, then covered in rock, including the white limestone that is visible from afar. Number 9. Amsterdam. Amsterdam is a pleasant city marked by meandering canals lined with tall, narrow row houses. It is the city where Anne Frank kept her most famous diary, so visiting the house where she wrote it is a must. This Venice of the North also is a city of great art, beginning with the Rijksmuseum, home to great European masterpieces, Rembrandt's house, and the more modern Van Gogh Museum. Take a break from sightseeing to tour and sample Holland's beer at the Heineken Brewery. Number 8. Prague. Prague, with a long history of war and destruction, is considered one of the best places to visit in Europe. Despite devastation caused by World War II, Prague has a very nice old town that is worth more than a few hours of your time. Prague has many pedestrian zones, which make walking a delight as you wander by Prague Castle, through the Jewish Quarter, and over the Charles Bridge. Wenceslaw Square, situated in the new town, hums with a vibrant nightlife and entertainment air. Number 7. Istanbul. Istanbul may be on the outer fringes of Europe, but well worth a visit when you're traveling abroad. Turkey's biggest city is a fascinating place, filled with rich history, colorful markets, and mosques. Top attractions include the Bosporus that separates Europe and Asia, the ecumenical Hagia Sophia that's been a Greek Orthodox Christian basilica, then an imperial mosque, and now a museum, and the 15th century Topkapi Palace, also a museum today. Get in a little shopping at the Grand Bazaar that's been in operation since 1461. Number 6. Geiranger Fjord. When the summer heat of Europe gets you down, head to Norway with its pretty cool scenery. Geiranger Fjord is a 9.3-mile-long fjord with crystal blue waters fed by picturesque cascading waterfalls. Take a sightseeing trip on a car ferry through the fjord, passing villages on the shores. Look out for the Seven Sisters of Sutor waterfalls, so named because legend says he's trying to court the sisters. Also, look for Bridal Veil. When the light is right, it looks like a thin veil covering the rocks. Number 5. Barcelona. Founded by the Romans, Barcelona today is a bustling city on the Mediterranean Sea. As the capital of Catalonia, it is a powerhouse in the region. It is perhaps best known for the unusual buildings designed by the architect Antoni Gaudí. These landmark structures include La Sagrada Familia, a church that's been under construction since 1892. You could build your entire visit around his buildings, but then you'd miss out on the other Barcelona delights, such as La Rambla, a popular pedestrian street in the central part of the city. Number 4. Dubrovnik. As European cities go, Dubrovnik isn't very big, but don't let its size deter you. This little jewel with less than 43,000 people is one of the most visited cities on the Mediterranean. Dubrovnik transports visitors back to a time when the fortified city was a major maritime power, commanding the third largest navy in the Mediterranean. As you wander the streets, you'll likely come across sculptures of Saint Viajo, the city's patron saint, whose life is celebrated every February. Number 3. Santorini. When it's time to sit back and relax, take yourself to Santorini, an island in the Aegean. Top travel magazines consider this a prime destination. Once there, you can't help but agree. The island has picture postcard villages, an active volcano, and stunning sunsets. Be sure to visit Fira, a village perched atop a cliff. You'll also want to sample wines, such as the dessert wine Vincanto, as well as the produce that is made sweeter and tastier because of the volcanic ash soil it grows in. Number 2. Paris. Songs laud Paris in the springtime, but any time of year is a good time to visit this riveting city on the River Seine. It's a city loaded to the brim with history, culture, great food, and high fashion. The iconic Eiffel Tower is one landmark you won't want to miss. The Louvre houses one of the greatest art collections in the world. Its great churches include Sacred Heart and Notre Dame. When it comes to opulence, there's Versailles with its famed Hall of Mirrors. Number 1. Rome. The ancient Romans established outposts as far away as Great Britain. They didn't ignore their home city, however, when it came to building great monuments. One must-see landmark is the Colosseum, an arena that could hold up to 80,000 people for gladiator contests. One of the biggest draws is a tiny country inside the city, the Vatican City, with its impressive St. Peter's Basilica with art provided by Michelangelo. Maybe you'll get a glimpse of the Pope at his Wednesday audiences.